Alright, so in this video we're gonna go over the quotient rule. And the quotient rule, so there are two ways to express this, and both ways, whichever you prefer. But the quotient rule says that if you have f of x divided by g of x, and you want to differentiate it, then your solution is gonna be g of x squared, g of x f dash of x, minus f of x g dash of x. So that is the quotient rule. And another way to express this, and this is probably the one that you will be taught, is if you have u divided by v, where u and v are functions of x, then it's v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx. So whichever formula you prefer. Alright. So now that we have done this, I'm going to sometimes do it directly, I'm going to sometimes write this down. So hopefully, as we go on solving these questions, you'll figure out how to get comfortable with using the quotient rule. Alright, and let me turn on my laptop so that I have something to refer as we move on. Alright, so this is 5D, I think. Okay. So I hope you have written the formula down. So now we're going to start with part B. B, you have 3x minus 5 divided by 2 minus x. So now you pick your u, which is going to be your numerator this time, and v is going to be your denominator. So let me write it here. V is going to be my denominator. V squared is going to be 2 minus x squared. And it's okay not to expand this out. Du by dx is going to give me 3. dv by dx is going to give me minus 1, right? If you differentiate this expression, you get minus 1. If you differentiate this expression, you get positive 3. So therefore, dy by dx, where y is equal to u over v, is going to be v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx. So this is a formula that you want to remember. And v is going to be 2 minus x, right? So 2 minus x, du by dx is 3, minus u is 3x minus 5. dv by dx is minus 1, divided by v squared. And v squared is just 2 minus x squared. And now we can simplify the numerator, right? So we have 6 minus 3x, if I distribute 3 inside here, plus 3x minus 5, right? So this minus 1, if you multiply to the front, this minus sign becomes positive. Divided by 2 minus x whole squared. So minus 3x plus 3x gives you 0. 6 minus 5 gives you 1. So 1, 2 minus x squared. That is your solution. And we are done for with B. Alright. So now let's do with D. I'm going to do D here. So D is 3x plus 1 divided by 2 minus 5x. And this is y. So u is your numerator. And du by dx gives you 3 again, right? V is your denominator, 2 minus 5x. dv by dx, if you differentiate this, you're going to get minus 5, right? And v squared is just 2 minus 5x squared. So you put all of these together to get dy by dx. That is v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx. So v is just 2 minus 5x, right? V is just 2 minus 5x. du by dx is 3 times 3 minus u is 3x plus 1. dv by dx is minus 5. And v squared, finally, is going to be 2 minus 5x squared. So now we can simplify this. We have 6 minus 15x in our first term, minus 15x minus 5 for our second term, right? Or actually, you could send this minus term here. So you no longer have a minus. So you can simplify however you want. All right, so actually you can have a plus sign here. That is also going to work. 2 minus 5x squared. So minus 15 plus 15 cancels out. 6 plus 5 is going to give me 11. 2 minus 5x squared. And that is going to be my solution for D. All right. So we are done with B and we are done with D. Now let's go ahead with F and H. So F is this ugly expression. That is okay. Don't worry about it. So F is going to be 5x to the power 4 divided by x squared minus 1 squared, right? So u is my numerator, which is 5x to the power 4. And if I differentiate u with respect to x, du by dx is going to be 20x cubed, right? 4 comes to the front, 5 4s are 20, x cubed. V is x squared minus 1 squared. Do not forget the squared. So if I square v, v squared is x squared minus 1 squared, and I squared this again, right? The whole thing squared. So that is going to give me x squared minus 1 to the power 4. And dv by dx. So you can bring 2 to the front. You have x squared minus 1 to the power 2 minus 1 is 1. But any x dega? No, right? So you have to differentiate x squared minus 1. And that gives you 2 x squared minus 1. And if you differentiate this, you get 2x. And if you simplify, you get 4x x squared minus 1. And if you put things inside, you get 4x cubed minus 4x. All right, so that is dv by dx. And finally, your solution, dy by dx, is going to be v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx, right? So v is x squared minus 1 squared. So x squared minus 1 squared. Du by dx is 20x cubed. Minus u. So if I have nothing separating the terms, that means usually it's multiplies, right? So u is 5x to the power 4. Dv by dx is 4x cubed minus 4x, all divided by v squared. So x squared minus 1 to the power 4. All right. So actually, if you think about it, rather than expressing 4x cubed minus 4x, rather than taking this expression, let me write it as this expression. Let me write it as this expression. And you can see why that will be helpful in a while. So I keep my 5x to the power 4, but this part, dv by dx, I will choose to write it as 4x times x squared minus 1. And the reason being is that I can cancel x squared minus 1, at least one term, right? So my first term, I will factor out x squared minus 1. I have x squared minus 1, 20x to the power 3, right? So if I factor out x squared minus 1 from my numerator, I have this in my first term, minus 5 4s are 20x to the power 5 is left here, and this got factored out, right? And in my denominator, I have x squared minus 1 to the power 4. And this can be cancelled out. So I have effectively x squared minus 1, 20x cubed times x squared minus 1, 20x to the power 5, divided by x squared minus 1 to the power 3. And now I can simplify this. I have 20x to the power 5, if I multiply this inside, minus 20x to the power 3 minus 20x to the power 5, divided by x squared minus 1 cubed. And this is going to cancel out. So effectively, my final answer is going to be 20x cubed divided by x squared minus 1 to the power 3. All right. So I hope the simplification makes sense. So you just want to think about factoring out x squared minus 1 from the numerator. And if you do so, you should get this expression. And I encourage you to think slowly about how we got here. And then the answer should make sense. All right. So we are done with F. And finally, we have H. So I'll erase everything here. So H, I have x plus 4 squared divided by x squared plus 1 to the power 3. All right. So u is going to be my numerator, x plus 4 squared. So du by dx is going to be, you bring the 2 to the front, x plus 4 to the power 1, but ani x tega made, so you have to differentiate it again. And when you differentiate x plus 4, you are going to get 1, right? So 2x plus 4 times 1 is just going to be this expression. All right. And v is my denominator, x squared plus 1 to the power 3. So v squared is just going to be x squared plus 1 cubed g squared. So that is going to give me x squared plus 1, 3 times 2 is 6. dv by dx, you bring the 3 to the front, 3 x squared plus 1 squared times ani x dega made, so you have to differentiate it again. All right, so you have 3 x squared plus 1 squared times 2x. You get 2x when you differentiate that. So that is 6x x squared plus 1 squared. All right, so now your solution is v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx, right? That is your formula. So v is this expression. Du by dx is this expression. Minus u, let me find u. U is this expression. And dv by dx is 6x x squared plus 1 squared. And finally, my denominator is v squared, which is going to be x squared plus 1 to the power 6. All right, so I can factor out a x squared plus 1 squared from my numerator. So this is the lowest power of x squared plus 1 that I can factor out, right? I have a 3 here, I have a 2 here, so I'm going to factor out the lowest power. I have x squared plus 1, 2 times x plus 4, minus x plus 4 squared times 6x, divided by x squared plus 1 to the power 6. So 2, so you can subtract 2 here. So you can right? So you have, so the denominator, I can write x squared plus 1 to the power 4 times x squared plus 1 to the power 2, right? That is going to give me x squared plus 1 to the power 6, because 4 plus 2 will give me 6. And these two parts are going to cancel out. And now, what else can I factor out from my numerator? Well, I can factor out the x plus 4. And if I factor out x plus 4, I have 2x squared plus 1 minus 6x x plus 4 left in my numerator. And I have x squared plus 1 to the power 4. And now I can simplify this a bit further. I have x plus 4, and inside this big bracket, I have 2x squared plus 2 minus 6x squared minus 24x, right? If I multiply this inside. And you have to distribute this negative sign as well. So x squared plus 1 to the power 4. All right, so finally, you have x plus 4, 2x squared minus 6x squared, that is minus 4x squared, 2 minus 24x is minus 22x, x squared plus 1 to the power 4. All right, so all right, I'm so sorry. I missimplified here. You can't simplify like this. 2 minus 6x squared is minus 4x squared minus 24x plus 2, right? Because there is no x here, so I can't add them together. So this expression should be it. I can factor out in negative 2, x plus 4. And if I factor out in negative 2, I get 2x squared plus 12x minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1 to the power 4. So this is the expression that the textbook gives, minus 2x plus 4, 2x squared plus 12x minus 1 divided by this, but this expression is also correct. It's the same expression. All right, so we are done with H. So here I made a mistake because 2 and 24, this one does not have the x term. So you can't simplify them together. You will have a plus 2 here. All right, so we are done with H. So question 2, find the gradient of the curve at the point this, right? So you just need to know the x coordinate. Your y is given to be x minus 5, x plus 4. And this is the same UV method, right? So let me do it directly. This is your v. You need to square v. V squared, keep v. Du by dx is going to give me 1, right? If you differentiate your numerator, you're going to get 1. Minus x minus 5. You keep your numerator. You differentiate the denominator, you're going to get 1 again. So you are going to get 9 over x plus 4 squared if you simplify the numerator. So I encourage you to think about this. And now you want to substitute x is equal to 2, I believe, from the question, right? So now if you do so, you get 9 over 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 squared is 36. So that is going to give you 1 over 4 to be your solution. And we are done with 2. All right. So 1 over 4 is your solution for 2. Question 3. Find the coordinates of the points on the curve. So you're given y, 1 minus 2x divided by x minus 5, right? All right. At which the gradient is 1. So find dy by dx first. dy by dx, so you know u is equal to 1 minus 2x. So du by dx is going to give you minus 2, right? You think about how you are going to differentiate this. And v is equal to x minus 5. V squared is going to be x minus 5 squared, and dv by dx is going to be 1. So now you can just substitute these values. V squared is this expression, x minus 5 squared. V is x minus 5. Du by dx is minus 2, minus u is 1 minus 2x, and dv by dx is just 1. All right, so I have minus 2x plus 10 in my numerator, minus 1 minus 2x divided by x minus 5 squared. So if I simplify, then I get minus 2x, I'm going to get plus 2x here. So I'm going to get 9 over x minus 5 squared, again, if you simplify. And now I need to find at which the gradient is 1. So I need to find the value, I need to find the coordinates, right? When this gradient dy by dx is equal to 1. So that means x minus 5 squared is equal to 9 if I multiply this here. So think about it. Because 9 is just 3 squared, right? 9 is 3 squared. So x minus 5 can be positive 3. X minus 5 can be negative 3. And if I square both of these expressions, I'm still going to get 9. So if I substitute 3 here, I get 3 squared is 9. If I substitute minus 3 here, I also get 9. So both of these are possible. So x can be 8 or x can be positive 2. And if x is 2, if x is equal to 2, I take this equation, y is going to be 1 minus 4, right? If I substitute 2 here, 2 minus 5. Think about it. 1 minus 4 gives me negative 3. 2 minus 5 also gives me negative 3. So that is positive 1. So 2 comma 1 is such possible point. And if x is equal to 8, then I have y is equal to, if I substitute 8 here, if I substitute 8 into this equation, I get 1 minus 16, 8 2 is 16, and then 8 minus 5 is going to be 3. So that gives me minus 5. So I have 8 comma minus 5 as my other point. So 2 comma 1, 8 comma minus 5 are my two solutions. All right. So now question 4 just asks us to differentiate with respect to x. So I'm not going to do all the questions. I'm going to do maybe, let's say, B and D, maybe, or let's do B and C because they look a bit more complicated. I'll leave A and D for you to try on your own. So B has x minus 1 divided by square root of 2x plus 3. So u is equal to x minus 1. Numerator is always u. Du by dx is just 1. V is equal to square root of 2x plus 3. V squared is equal to 2x plus 3. dv by dx. Now remember, v is just 2x plus 3 to the power half. That is what we mean by square root, right? So you can bring your half to the front. 2x plus 3, you have minus half, right? Half minus 1 is minus half. But ani x dega made, so you have to differentiate 2x plus 3 again. And you get 1 over 2 square root of 2x plus 3 times, so this is what this simplifies to, right? If you think about it. All right, and then here, if you differentiate 2x plus 3, you get 2. And these 2's are going to cancel out. So you have 1 over 2x plus 3. That is your solution for dv by dx. All right, so now we can just substitute. dy by dx is v squared v du by dx minus u dv by dx. So what is v? V is 2x plus 3. Du by dx is just 1, so I'm not going to write it down. Minus u is x minus 1. dv by dx is this expression, 1 over square root of 2x plus 3. And my denominator is v squared, so that is just going to be 2x plus 3 from here. All right, so now I need to simplify, right? So now I need to simplify my numerator. So let me write it with the common denominator. This one is x minus 1 divided by square root of 2x plus 3. So I want square root of 2x plus 3 in the denominator. So I can write that as follows. So now I want you to think about how these two expressions are equivalent. I just multiplied by square root of 2x plus 3 in the numerator and denominator. And the numerator turns into this, and my denominator turns into this. And the reason I did that is now I have a common denominator here. So now I can operate on this. 2x minus 1x is going to give me x. 3 minus of minus x is going to give me plus. Minus of minus 1 is going to give me 3 plus 1, which is x plus 4. Divided by this denominator will get multiplied by this. And I encourage you to think about the algebra of the situation here. So overall, I'm going to get 2x plus 3 to the power 3 over 2. And that is going to be my solution. So I know I skipped a few steps, but I highly encourage you to think about how we got to this solution. So B is done. That is going to be like a quick algebra question for you to try. And now question C. So this is the answer for B. All right. Question C. U is 3 minus x squared. Du by dx is going to be, if I differentiate this, I'm going to get minus 2x. And I encourage you to do the differentiation on your own. V in my denominator is x squared minus 1. V squared is going to be x squared minus 1. So the square root is going to go away. dv by dx is going to be d by dx. I can write x squared minus 1 g square root as this power. So I get half x squared minus 1. Half minus 1 is minus half. But ani x tega, it's x squared minus 1. So I have to differentiate it again. So I have 1 over 2 x squared minus 1. X squared minus 1 g square root times, if I differentiate this expression, I get 2x. And the 2's are going to cancel out. So I have x over x squared minus 1. All right. So now I have everything. So I can find dy by dx. dy by dx is v squared goes on my denominator, x squared minus 1. V stays. So what is v? V is square root of x squared minus 1. du by dx is minus 2x. Minus u is 3 minus x squared. dv by dx is x over square root of x squared minus 1. If you simplify everything. Now, if you add things together, so if you simplify more, and I'm going to leave the simplification for you to try on your own, but you are going to get this expression. I know it might look a bit confusing to see how I got here, but I encourage you to pause the video and try to get this expression on your own. Alright, so now I can do some further simplifications. So in the numerator, I'm going to get 2x minus 2x cubed plus 2x minus 3x plus minus 3x minus x to the power 3 divided by x squared minus 1 to the power 3 by 2. So now if you simplify further, I believe you're going to get minus sign. You can factor it out. X cubed plus x divided by x squared minus 1 to the power 3 by 2. I think that is your final solution. So you can factor out the x actually from the numerator. So you get x squared plus 1 over x squared minus 1 to the power 3 by 2. And that is going to be your final solution. And we're done with question 4. So now we are at the final question. Question 5 says, find the x-coordinate of the point where the gradient is 0. So we just want to solve for dy by dx is equal to 0. Right? So y is equal to x plus 1 divided by square root of x minus 1. U is x plus 1. Du by dx is equal to 1. V is square root of x minus 1. V squared is x minus 1. And dv by dx, if you differentiate it on your own, you're going to see that you're going to get this expression. So now, dy by dx, you can just substitute values in. V squared is x minus 1. V is square root of x minus 1. Du by dx is just 1. Minus u is x plus 1. And dv by dx is 1 over 2 square root of x minus 1. And if you simplify things, you're going to see that you have x minus 1, 2x minus 1 minus x plus 1 in your numerator. And in your denominator, you have x minus 1 to the power 3 over 2. So I'm skipping some steps, but I hope that you can get from this point to this point. That is just some algebra that you need to do. And it's going to be good practice if you try it on your own. So finally, your numerator is going to be 2x minus 2 minus x minus 1. So that is going to give me 2x minus x is going to give me x. Minus 2 minus 1 is going to give me minus 3. So now, I need to solve for dy by dx is equal to 0. So my denominator can never be 0. So not 0 factorial, never be 0. Alright, so my numerator has to be 0. So x minus 3 has to be 0. So x has to be equal to 3. And that is your solution. And we are done with this topic.